Good morning. We are going to talk about the geologic timescale today, more specifically, the eons of that timescale. So Earth's eons are the time frames that date the age of our planet Earth. Okay, so the scale is used by scientists and geologists to map timing and relationships of events on Earth. Timescales are determined by the aging of rocks and of fossils. The scale is ever changing because the geology of Earth increases, the scale is adjusted. So it's kind of fluid. The largest measure of time is the eon, and then eons are further separated into eras. Eras are separated into periods. Periods are further separated and then further separated. So we are going to focus on the 4 eons until we get to the last eon, and we'll break that down into its eras. We won't further than that. The scale is maintained by the International Commission on Traffic. So the 4 eons, starting from the bottom of this graph and moving up, the first one is the Hadean. So we're going from oldest to youngest. The second is the Archean. The third is the Phanerozoic, and the fourth is the Phanerozoic. So the first 3 eons comprise about 90% of Earth's history, and the very last eon is about 10%. Now this is give or take; these aren't exact numbers. All right, so the Hadean eon, it started about 4.6 billion years ago, and it is literally the formation, the beginning of Earth, the very start. So when you see the name, what does it go? Hades, right? So yes, that's where it comes from. Hadean comes from Hades, and it is due to the magma and lava that's covering the Earth, the extreme that's going on, reminiscent of hell, obviously. So characteristics of this eon is the formation of the atmosphere, dust and gases all over the place, gases such as ammonia, methane, and especially hydrogen. You know, hydrogen is very important to life. There's no life without hydrogen. Also during this eon, there's the development of the core of the Earth as well as the crust, and the crust is very, very unstable at this time. We do not have any rocks remaining from this time frame, so we have nothing to go back to necessarily to look at. And also during this time frame, there's absolutely no life. So fun fact about the Hadean eon is that it is believed by many geologists and scientists that the moon was also formed during this time frame. All right, so now this is our second time frame. So this is about 4 billion years ago up to about 2.5 billion years ago. This eon begins with the crust and the solid formation of the crust. So when you look at this, the meaning is origin, and it's called that because the Archean eon is the start, the origin of actual life on Earth. So the oldest rocks that we have are from this eon, and the oldest fossils are also from that. During this time, the life that emerges is very primitive. So it's basically bacteria and non-nucleated. So cells have no nucleus at this time. Very, very basic. Characteristics of this eon is high volcanic activity, which leads to the warming of the Earth's surface as well as surfaces, the first continental formations. Now, continents at this time were nowhere near as big as they are now. There are many, many, many volcanic eruptions, and these eruptions contributed to mineral production. Okay, so now we have iron forming, like gold, silver, basalts. During this time frame, the rocks were igneous and metamorphic. The atmosphere at this time is anoxic, so there is no free oxygen in the atmosphere and land. Our fun fact about the Archean eon is that, and it also includes the Hadean eon, is that these first 2 eons are believed to have sustained frequent meteorite impacts. So the Earth is getting hit consistently with meteors during these first 2 eons. So moving along to our third eon is the Proterozoic. So this begins with oxygen. Great amounts of oxygen is finally in the atmosphere. Volcanic activity is coming down to a minimum. And so the oxygen that has been previously used for all that volcanic activity and the formation of the minerals is now deep down in Earth. That oxygen is now being permitted to go up and out into the atmosphere. This is a big deal, obviously. So this name, Proterozoic, its meaning is Greek for early life. Okay, so there's a great increase of biological activity, and that is credited to the increase of oxygen levels in the atmosphere. And our soil beds are beginning to form at this time. Characteristics of this eon, there is evidence of photosynthesis during this time, algae formation, and the first oxygen-breathing animals occur during this eon. Now the cells are nucleated. They have a nucleus, so that means there's a genetic code. Okay, so life is really starting to come about at this time. There are metallic orbs that have been found on all of our current continents that come from this era, and these metallic orbs have iron, gold, copper, uranium, and nickel. And like I mentioned before, this era has the formation and the breakup of supercontinents. So they form, they break, move around, shift, form, break. It's kind of like a little cycle. It happens a few times. So mountain belts are formed during this time because of the plate tectonics that are occurring. The end of this eon is characterized by soft-bodied, oxygen-breathing organisms, and these fossils are found in sandstone. So we have our final eon, the Phanerozoic eon, and it includes present day. So it's about 540 MA to present day. So this name is meaning a visible life. This eon encompasses a major evolution of life, and this is when the first animals with skeletons come about. So whether that's exoskeletons or endoskeletons, but skeletons are existent at this time. So plants, birds, fish, animals, humans, all of this is developed during this eon. So it's going to be broken into 3 eras. So the first era is the Paleozoic, meaning old animals, and this begins with the bang of life, not to be confused with the Big Bang. Okay, so our current continental masses formed during this era, and it ends with the Great Dying. So we have all these life forces that come about, mostly marine life, which is represented in this image, but due to a course of events, there's a great dying away. And so this leads to our our second era, which is the Mesozoic, meaning middle animals. So this is what we know as the era of the dinosaurs and other reptiles, a big deal during this time frame. So this era ends with the extinction, the big mass extinction that occurs from a meteor hitting Earth, which we all have heard about and know about. So that is, again, the Mesozoic era, the second era. And then currently we are in the Cenozoic era, meaning new life. It is present day. It is characterized by a time frame of ice caps and the ice age during this time frame, and also by the great evolution of mammals and plant life. So that is just a quick summary of Earth's 4 eons. Again, they're Hadean, Archean, Proterozoic, and Phanerozoic. And our Phanerozoic is broken down into eras, which is the Paleozoic era, Mesozoic era, and Cenozoic era. All right, y'all have a good day.